because you are still in this body mode. Your still body is going to demand. You have to nurture the body. You have to satisfy the body. Otherwise, it interferes for you to remain in that oneness mode. But the thing is that once you are in oneness mode, you begin to understand the meaning of unconditional loving, serving, and giving. Otherwise, all our good deeds are conditional. We do good deeds, but we never become goodness. मोहब्बत तो बहुत की है तुमने, ये महज प्यार ही न कभी बन पाए तुम. प्यार तो एक महक है, एक खुशबू है मेरे ही दामन की. भला कैसे उसे मुझसे तुम जुदा कर पाओगे. ये सच्चा प्यार ही कभी बन पाए तुम, तो देखना अपने में ही मुझे छुपा पाओगे.
Lovely. Lovely.
So it is about becoming love.
Absolutely. And then, you know, when you become that,
yes,
then you have no control over who experiences that emotion around.
Exactly, exactly. See, the psychology of the universe, which has designed us, it has designed us in a, the easiest example is you see this beautiful rose sitting in the bouquet. Now you plant this rose bush, and slowly you nurture it, water it, sun nurtures it, and one day it blooms and gives you this beautiful rose. That is the success of this rose bush, right?
True.
But it does not distinguish whether you are criminal or you are a saint in giving away its fragrance and its beauty. It does it unconditionally.
Like the sun just shines.
Right. So, and then not only that, the gardener will advise you, if you want this plant to give you more roses, pluck these roses. So it gives away its success. Whereas in the body mode, we hold on to our success.
I want to now understand the entrepreneur bit, and how does this feed into as an entrepreneur?
Yes.
And what you're saying is that if you pick people who are in that oneness mode, then even in the corporate sector, even commercially, these are people who perform better for everybody.
Yes.
So how does that work?
Well, this is how I did it. When I let go my old team in 1980, I brought these young students, some PhDs, MBAs, highly educated, no experience. So I said, well, look, there are 4 things you ought to know before you join this company. Number 1, if you ask me to describe the job description, I can't give you job description. Any problem you encounter, regardless whether it is in your field or expertise, doesn't matter, but you own that problem.
Okay.
You have to figure that out, how to solve it.
So ownership.
That's where your education begins, right? And secondly, if you ask me what your title is going to be after 5 years, how are you going to be promoted after 5 years, I can't answer that either, because we are not going to have any titles, including me. And thirdly, I said, you have worked very, very hard on your degree, and you deserve this degree. But my suggestion to you is that frame it in a beautiful frame and send it to your mom. Because if I see that degree hanging in the office, you'll be terminated. For this company's sake, you are a student again. And fourth, since you are a student, you'll be placed in different departments till you totally understand the working and function of that department. And then you move to next, and eventually, after complete rotation, we are going to sit down, and I would like to know what excites you. Today you have gone and gotten a degree, and you are imprisoned for life in that subject, but you don't know whether even it excites you. And I was surprised that some of these people who have done their PhD in polymers, they wanted to go in the marketing. And the people who have MBA degree, they wanted to be in the production. And so it was amazing that their passion, they did not know. And then I said, 70% of the time you're going to spend in the area which excites you. 30% of the time you still would be involved in this. Now, where I brought these values was that because there was no boss, so when we have to make very tough decision, how do we make that? We will have debates and discussions and you come to that decision, but that may not be the right decision. So we together created 15 operating principles based on oneness. First, we realized that the core seed is oneness, and that oneness is that you and I and everyone is all come from the same energy and connected to the same energy. That is why for me to survive, I have to nurture the bigger one.
Okay.
It's just like in human body.
Right.
The liver can't exist if the heart is failing.
True.
So that was constantly understood, and Saturday was dedicated, every Saturday was dedicated to understanding those values. Because the law of entropy is that if you have taken ore, iron ore, and recovered pure iron, if you leave it in nature, it will become ore again.
Yes.
So you have to protect it, you have to nurture it on an ongoing basis. And that was the most important part of our business. And as a result, after making a decision, after discussions, we would bring what we call our boss, those values. And many times we ended up changing our decision. And many times it cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars to change that decision.
Really?
Because if we didn't, those values would be merely paper tigers. They would have no meaning.
Okay. So this is really interesting. I think somewhere when you are helping people walk their journey, and
Yes.
as you said, we are work in progress, you are constantly pushed out of your comfort zone to walk
Right.
your journey.
Right, right.
Wanting again to understand from you that when जब ये द्वंद्व आता है, when this challenge comes, then invariably, because water tends to flow where the gradient is,
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
we tend to make the easier choices, saying,
Yes,
अभी
yes.
रहने दो, बाद में we'll see the tough
Right,
one.
right.
So what is it internally that said, no, stop, take the loss,
Yes.
go for this? So one is there a gut, is there an intellect, is there a heart, what helps in decision making, and is there one way to make decisions? We want to understand this from you, and we'll take a short break but come back and talk about all this. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're still in conversation with Ratanjit Sondhe. Ratanjit, talking of decision making, you know,
Yes.
sometimes we say, this is a head decision, this is a gut decision. No, no, follow your gut, ignore your head. How do you make this combination?
Well, see, until this brain is an amazing instrument. If it is given a challenge, it will figure it out what to do. So when a decision needs to be made, we say, well, look, make the decision through the lens of oneness. And then we spelled out these 15 principles which further defines different areas. And then brain looks at those things and says, okay, this decision does not comply with this. So this gave us some sort of a control by which all our decisions were in compliance with oneness.
Okay.
And that empowered everyone, because at the end of those decisions, some of the results we got were absolutely amazing.
You know, somewhere as we grow up, these are things that are told to us.
Yes.
And they come in through one, out through the other. We're surrounded by these so-called cliches, you
Right,
know,
right.
which come from a very deep source.
Right, right.
And in the West, they're not even exposed to those cliches.
Yes, yes.
And when you talk for them, there's a newness to what you're saying.
Yes.
So is there a difference in, so first of all, is there a divide, East-West in understanding? And secondly, if there's a difference, what is it?
Well, see, the thing is, this worked very well in my company was located in Cleveland, which is the Midwest, which is the heartland, they call it, of America. That's where all the manufacturing, all the main things are happening, and our product was sold world over. And so I was dealing with all types of people from all nationalities, all the types of the world. And it resonated with everyone because our purpose was to elevate value. And it also told us who our competition was. Our competition was our last best. Because when you are serving the highest power, you cannot be mediocre at any stage. So our quality reflected everything we did.
That means work is sacred.
Work is sacred. That's what your temple is. That's where my wife was working with me, and she was an epitome of oneness, basically. She never differentiated, and wherever I would go back into the body mode, she will correct me, say, no, this is where you belong. And my entire success is really because of her. And my mother, my wife, and even my daughter, when she was 12 years old, you see, my mother taught me two things. She says, look, your best always has to be improved, make it better. But I did not learn that till I married my wife. And she taught me how to make my best better. And then she used to also say, stay in unconditional mindset of unconditional gratefulness. And I didn't understand that. I said, how can I be grateful? I mean, somebody has to do something for me, then only I can be grateful, right? My daughter was 12 years old. I was taking her to school one day, and we had little time, so we stopped for breakfast. And I don't know why I asked this question. I said, Nisha, what if God comes to you and say, my child, you have been really a good, great child. Ask anything and I'll give you. She said, Dad, if I ask for a lot of money, I mean, he can give me all the money. So suddenly, when I buy something, when I get something, when I convince you to get me something, the feeling which comes in me is more important than that thing, which is the feeling of gratefulness. And when I learn something, if I ask for knowledge, when I learn something, I solve some problem, and again that feeling comes in me of this gratefulness. And I don't want to have long life because I want to see what else is there. So he says, what if I ask God, say, God, give me that feeling of unconditional gratefulness at all time.
Right.
It brought tears in my eyes, and that is when I really understood the meaning of this unconditional gratefulness.
Because, you know, it's like these little silver threads that constantly connect us to everyone.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
You know, if you're grateful all the time, you're always connected.
Yeah. See, the thing is, we shower ourselves. The best way to cleanse inside is through gratefulness. Once you are parked in gratefulness, there is no poison left in you. It becomes clean. But it has to be unconditional.
Right.
So when we do something for us, it has to be unconditional. We keep on doing good, but we never become goodness itself.
When people make choices, life choices,
Yes.
what should be the guide which helps them, other than the principle of oneness? Just destructure it a little.
Well, see, until you are parked in oneness, your mind is going to play games with you. Because mind has this data, and it is all connected to this human side of human body, which has desire towards me. इसमें मेरा क्या फ़ायदा है? ये तो चलेगा नहीं, ये तो बनेगा नहीं. And mind, and that all comes from ego. And ego is basically, supposing you are born blind, you have never seen anything, the real. You have built your own world by touching and feeling and all that. Now the modern science came up with this new treatment, and you suddenly have eyes. The first time you see and you realize the world you have imagined is not exactly that. So ego is actually like operating in a dark world. It's a man-made illusion. and which is basically it segregates us.
Right.
It's not anything. Like if you are fighting darkness, you can have atomic bomb or whatever you want because you are fighting something which is not there. It's absence of light.
True.
So the absence of oneness is ego. You can fight all you want, and especially people who think that I don't have any ego, I'm a humble person. That's the highest form of ego. Ego is man-made illusion. You can fight all you want, you will never win. Just bring the understanding and the wisdom of oneness
And light it up.
and light it up, and ego disappears.
True. Thank you so much, Ratanjit, for speaking with us and sharing a part of yourself.
Well,
Thank you so much.
for allowing me to do this.
Thank you.
And I bow to the power within you, which is my God,
Okay.
and the power in every listener of this program. Please realize that power is within you, and inspire that power, and you will become unstoppable success.
Thank you. We all bow to the power. Thank you.
Thank you.